Antibiotic resistance and overuse is something I have always thought was a problem. Antibiotic resistance is when the bacteria cells become resistant to the treatment. This happens in a number of ways. The first way is through the non-therapeutic use of antibiotics in our agricultural supply, and the second is from overuse or misuse of antibiotics by people. The way people misuse antibiotics that help with the resistance is that they don't completely finish and follow the directions when they get antibiotics. Not completing the antibiotic treatment helps with the resistance increase because the bacteria that survives the incomplete treatment come back and multiply. They replicate with the resistant properties to that antibiotics help. Or people demand antibiotics from their doctor's office when it's not needed. The only thing antibiotics are good for is bacteria cells. They don't help with viruses. So the common cold, if you go in and demanding that you get antibiotics for common cold, it's not going to do anything but help with the resistance that we already have a crisis going on with. Some of the most common diseases that have become resistant to antibiotics are pneumonia, tuberculosis, sepsis, and gonorrhea, just to name a few. As far as antibiotics used in agriculture department, they are grossly misused and overused. NCBI.gov 2015 stated that 80% of all antibiotics sold in the U.S. is sold to animal agriculture. And only 70% of the 80% is actually medically important to the animals. The agricultural farmers put antibiotics in the feed of animals as a precautionary measure. They say it helps improve growth rate and prevent infections. So the animals don't ever present with any illness, yet we still give them antibiotics. This is also helping with the resistance and probably one of the main reasons why resistance has come to be. The way resistance is transmitted to us from animals is by just handling the animal, from handling their manure, consumption of undercooked meat, or even touching the surfaces that the resistant meat is on. Other countries have banned already and or restricted the use of antibiotics in animals, yet the U.S. is dragging their feet. There is a bill called PAMTA. This is the Preservation of Antibiotics for Medical Treatment Act. This bill would phase out 8 different classes of antibiotics used in our livestock that we get, but this has been continuously stalled by Congress. Why is that? NCBI 2015 stated that in 2014, the White House released the National Strategy to Combat Antibiotic-Resistant Bacteria. They acknowledged that this antibiotic resistance was critical and a major issue, yet they've done nothing to reduce the use of antibiotics in our livestock or even set standards or begin to even talk about the change that we would do. According to the WHO, some different ways people can combat the spread of resistance is to not demand antibiotics. Always finish and follow directions on antibiotics. Never share or give anybody your leftover antibiotics, or say you had some that you didn't finish, take them again. They go back and just start a whole new process over. Practice safer sex. Use proper hygiene, whether it's washing your hands before and after the bathroom, washing your hands when you're handling raw meat, making sure you're not transmitting anything to other places. And as far as meat consumption goes, try your best, if you can anyway, to get meat that is raised without antibiotics and even growth hormones. So hopefully those little tidbits will help